Welcome to the Therapy Table by Lighthouse Counseling Services, where healing, growth, and mental health are always on the menu. I'm your host, Laura Da Silva, and I'm glad that you've pulled up a chair. Today's episode is all about hitting reset and giving yourself permission to reset and realign. And as the summer picks up, I don't know about you, but sometimes it can feel just so stretched thin, emotionally, physically, and mentally. And that is why I have invited Angie Martinez with Essential Artistry to share 5 practical ways to reset yourself this summer. We'll talk about the most common stressors that people face at this time of year and simple holistic tools to support your emotional, physical, and mental, and even financial well-being. And if you're finding that stress, anxiety, or just that feeling of overwhelm is too much for you to handle alone, remember, at Lighthouse Counseling Services, our therapists are ready to help you navigate through your stressors. So let's get into it. Angie, can you tell us about yourself and what is Essential Artistry? That sounds so intriguing.
Essential Artistry. Essential Artistry came about 2 years ago, and I used to be an art teacher at a charter school. I taught there for 7 years, and I absolutely loved it. And about the same time I was leaving there, I joined doTERRA. And I loved for those of you that don't know what doTERRA is, they have holistic products. Their main ingredients are essential oils, and all of their products, they help with natural healing. And for me, I haven't purchased anything over the counter, like for headaches, for nausea, for coughs or colds. I use doTERRA, and I love that. You know, it's been almost 7 years to be able to use something natural. And so I was talking to a massage therapist, and we were talking about our love for art and our love of oils, and she said we should do an oil art class.
Oil art?
Oil art.
Interesting. Have you heard of oil art?
And so what happened is she actually even helped me pick the name, Essential Artistry. And so I have to give her credit for that. And so it's just kind of evolved into looking at our emotions and our physical health through art and essential oils. And I'm just so excited to be able to share this with people.
Yeah, I'm so grateful that you're here.
Thank you so much,
share
Laura.
this with us.
Yeah. So anyway, our goal is to help women heal and grow through creativity, essential oils, and spiritual alignment. So I mostly work with women. However, I've had a couple of men come to my art classes, and so it's been really fun.
Can you tell me, Angie, what is summer reset to you?
Summer reset. Well, when we look at summer, so we are in this beautiful setting.
We are.
And what a great place, to talk about summer. So when you were little, like I remember being a teenager and not being able to wait for summer. It was so much fun, right? And we'd be going on trips and family vacations. And
no school.
No school. No homework. No time to get up. No alarms, right? And how much fun is that? Well, as we age and get older and we're moms and grandmas, now we have to account for what are we going to do with the kids while they're out of school? Where am I going to put them? Now they're into that time that I had while they were in school. Now they're into my time, and I have to figure out how to navigate that. There's also like budgeting, like they want to go on 3 trips this summer, and where does that come into play? And so there's a lot on our plates.
So much more responsibility than we were when we were kids.
Yes. I mean, what happened to like the fun in summer just like went out the door.
Sometimes it can feel a bit stressful.
It can feel stressful. And so my hope is that people can gain some insight on some of the things that they can do, for themselves with, maybe without a budget, that there's some simple things you can do, to help regain our capacity. And I love this word capacity. capacity was introduced to me in November. It's actually a term used by Gallup, Clifton Strengths. I have a friend that's a strength coach. And so it's a personality test that looks at all of your strengths. And what they do is focus on your strengths. But one of the problems is when we have no capacity left, is when we shut down. And Clifton Strengths works with a lot of Fortune 500 companies. And so they're, why are employees calling in sick? Like, most of the time, people calling sick aren't really sick. Their capacity is maxed.
So it's more like mental health days that they're calling in for.
Exactly. I mean, and I'm sure you know all about that
Right.
with the work that you do. But, so I was very intrigued with capacity. And so I love, you want to look at this little demonstration. So say this is your normal workday capacity. It's right here. So you've got some capacity.
Space in there.
There's some space in there. And so what happens is you might get a phone call. Your daughter's left school. Oh, okay. And then your dog got hit by a car and has to go to the vet. And it doesn't seem like it all happens at the same time.
Right? It comes in threes, huh?
And then you got a flat tire. And then you get home and your husband's had a bad day and he wants to know, what time's dinner. And by that time you're like, what time's dinner? What time's dinner? You know what? I've just about had it. And you're over
The cup
capacity.
is overflowing.
It's done. And you're done. And what happens a lot of times is that it ends up in an argument. Just personally, my husband recently, if I can share a personal example, he came home, he's been working construction, it's been 100 degrees, there's no air conditioning in the building they're working in, and he works with my son, and my son gets a little edgy. He walked in at 3 o'clock, and he didn't think I'd done anything, and the dishes probably weren't done, and the bed wasn't made. And he looked at me like, "Oh, how was your day?" And he goes, "Just living the dream." I was like, "I got it. Bye. I'll see you. I'll see you."
You are overfull.
You are overfull. And I think before I learned about capacity, I didn't understand. I always took it personal. And it's like, but now I can look at it and just say, you know what? I'm sorry you had a bad day. It's not about me. I mean, and I think we do take things personally.
Right.
When we work with people, our friends.
Do you feel like when we take things personal like that, it adds more water to our cup?
Absolutely. Right? I just feel like, because now it's about me. Now it's like, see, now, if I didn't know about capacity, I'm like, oh, I didn't do the dishes. I start to beat myself up.
Right.
I didn't do this. I didn't have the dinner ready. And then it's all about what I didn't do, and then I'm
Instead of
feeling
focusing
bad.
on what you did do.
Right. So when we want to empty that cup back out, I love what some of the things that we can do. You might get up a little bit earlier. Now that might sound counterintuitive to my want to sleep in. It's summer, and my kids are off, right? But if you get up a little bit earlier, and I don't know if you knew this or not, but 80% of women in America are dehydrated all the time.
I believe that. So we're just go. We
And
don't
you're like, I
think
forgot
about
to drink water.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's a simple thing you can add. You get up, and you drink a glass of water, and you walk outside, and you sit in the sun for 10 minutes. And the reason you want to do this, skipping around a little bit, how well do you sleep at night? Are you like a 5 to 6 hour night sleeper? Do you get up a couple of times during the night?
So I would say that on average I get about 80% quality
Oh, that's
sleep.
good. That's good. Because one of the things with sleep, if you're not getting enough sleep, it adds cortisol, which puts on pounds, which is an interesting thing for when you think about summer. One of the stressors people think about summer is our weight, because our clothes are getting body image. And in January, you start thinking about bathing suit you want to wear in June, right?
Right.
And you set all these expectations, and as June gets closer and closer and closer, that bathing suit may not be the one you had envisioned.
Right.
So our body image. So going back to what we started with, sorry, I did a little skip
That's
around.
okay.
If you get up in the morning and you sit outside in the light, even if the sun hasn't come up yet. Now I know it's early, like because of daylight savings time. But if you will do that every day, just like drink 16 ounces of water, walk outside for 10 minutes. It resets your circadian rhythm so that you will get a better night's sleep. Now, on the back
So
end
you're
of
starting in the morning
that,
to get a better night's sleep.
to get a better night's sleep.
Following the coming evening.
So, with that being said, shutting off, it's the blue light. Right? It's the blue light that's like, oh, it's time to get up. So when you're outside in the morning, it's like that blue light, it's time to wake up, right?
Can I actually have you repeat that part? Because you guys probably heard the truck passing. I don't want you guys to miss this. So can you repeat that?
Okay, so blue light is the light that tells you to get up in the morning. So when the sun comes up, it's like, oh, it's time to get up. But our circadian rhythms are all kind of off track because of the blue light we get from television or from our screens or looking at your phone, before you go to bed. So I love this. I borrow ideas from people. Mel Robbins says to put your phone in another room so that you're not tempted to look at it before you go to bed. You're prepping your life. You have a morning routine and you can have an evening routine.
That was a big one.
That was a big one. Okay, so then for your emotional, what I used to do, I started to change my routines because I want something to change.
Right.
And so I get a journal and I meditate and I just apply it. So this is after I've had my water, I've been in the sunshine, then I get a journal and I just apply it. And if there's anything that's been on my mind, like an emotion or something, I'm like, man, I'm feeling sad. And, why am I feeling sad? So I will journal that. And I wait for, I like to call him God. A lot of people call him the universe,
Yeah.
I wait for an answer. And then I journal that answer down. And I use 2 different colored pens. So, like, my questions.
And then his response.
And then his response.
That's beautiful.
And I love it. I know that when I start my day that way, I'm not always consistent, but I can always tell a huge difference when I start my day that way. And then gratitude, writing down some things that I'm grateful for. And one of the tips that I heard was write down a story that you're grateful. So I'm grateful for my husband. So I wrote down the story of when we met, and it really gave me, because you said, I'm grateful for my husband, I'm grateful for my kids.
But that story really ingrains that.
It really did. It really, so when he's yelling at me that he's just living the dream, I can go back to but remember when we met, and how much I loved you, and couldn't stay away from you. You know what I mean?
There's actually studies that show that gratitude actually changes our heartbeat to be more in sync and stuff. And so I love that you write a story, because as you do that, it helps ingrain it more and create more of that steady heartbeat.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I really like that. So those are a few things you can do to reset.
Okay, so let's recap. So
16 ounces of water in the morning.
16 ounces of water in the morning.
10 minutes of sunshine.
10 minutes of sunshine.
And journaling
journaling,
Uh-huh.
gratitude, or your prayers or
your
whatnot.
prayers. Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, and then let's talk about just being in nature. So I love that we're out in nature. They've done studies in Japan. They started something called forest bathing, like in the 80s. And Japan is a very high stress nation, workaholics,
Yes.
with a very high suicide rate.
Mm.
And so sad. So they started to create gardens where their employees could go outside. And what they noticed was cortisol levels go down, your heart rate goes down, your blood pressure goes down. And the one thing I love about doTERRA is that they created a forest bathing oil.
Forest bathing oil.
It's called Shinrin Yoku. It actually translates forest bathing.
Yeah.
And what I absolutely love about doTERRA is they have scientists on our team and doctors. And so Dr. Brannick Briggs did a study, and after 6 nights of diffusing this Shinrin Yoku, his blood pressure went down 30 points.
Wow.
And his cortisol levels also went down. So if you can't get outside to the forest, there's all sorts of things you can do inside.
Have you tried this oil? If so, please put in the comments your experience with it.
I would love to know your experience if you've had. One of the other things that I like to do another demonstration. So I just have a bag of essential oils here.
Okay.
And so I'm just going to let you reach into the bag and
Just randomly
pick something. And then we're going to look it up. And
Okay. Just gonna randomly pick one here. What calls to Island Mint.
Oh, I love it.
I have never heard of Island Mint. Have you?
Island Mint. Isn't it fun? It's a summer oil that they put together.
Can I smell it?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
And put it on.
I love it.
So yeah, so in our we have a book called Essential Emotions, and looks like this.
And this is a book that you get from doTERRA?
You can get this from doTERRA. There are some people that have been in doTERRA for a very long time who purchased the rights to this book. Now it's an interesting story how this book came about.
Okay.
So there aren't authors to this book, and the reason being is that they wanted the plants to be the authors of the book. So when you look up what it is,
So it's almost like Mother Earth.
Mother Earth
is the author.
Is the author. And so let's see if this resonates with you. So the oils that are in that blend are lime, lemon, peppermint, and spruce. And they've called this the oil of respite. So it's perfect for our summer reset, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that cool that you picked it? And so that's what I like to do, just, intuitively pick an oil. I pick one every morning.
Yeah.
I picked in the summer this morning because that's the one we're going to give away. And we'll talk about that one in a minute. So let's just read what it says. Island Mint is a delightfully bright blend. With the citrus and mint combination, it elevates both body and mind. When one is felt bombarded with heaviness, recurring stress, and persistent challenges, this blend offers reprieve and a touch of summer through the soul. It's balanced by the distinctive depth of spruce. It's especially beneficial for anchoring the emotional lift for the other oils and ensuring that energy infused does not come at the expense of other vital resources. Everyone needs reinvigoration and renewal.
That's why we're here today.
That's why. Isn't that awesome? This blend provides emotional respite, which inspires individuals to look beneath the surface for the true source of their overwhelming stress. It teaches that lasting peace and comfort come from doing the necessary emotional work to create personal wholeness. The energetic message of this blend is to balance the very real need to relax and unwind with the less productive impulse to continually escape and avoid difficulties.
That is so neat.
I love that.
Yes.
And So it says you can apply it over your chest, your shoulders, and your neck, and inhale it.
So on your chest,
Mm-hmm.
your shoulders,
Shoulders
and
and
your neck.
your neck.
That's beautiful.
So I love that. So I think we are up to number 5, aren't we? Do you want to recap what we've talked about
So
so
I
far?
want to show you guys though, like seriously, like these are all different ones. I did not like. That was totally not even.
Not even. Yeah, there's a
That was
backfold.
not planned. Like I don't see any others in here that are actually
That are
like
the same.
summer blend. Like
Yeah.
that is so neat.
So yeah. So then the other thing that I want to talk about
Oh,
is
let's
our...
recap real fast.
Oh, let's recap.
Let's recap.
Exactly.
Okay. So we have drink water, 16 ounces.
Yeah.
Sit in the sun for 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Journal. And
And you can pick an oil
pick an essential oil.
Uh-huh.
What calls to you?
to set your day.
I'm just going to move that one up here because it's also a summer one.
A summer one. I
Okay,
love it.
what's your fifth
Okay, so
technique
the
on
fifth
how we can
technique-
reset ourselves during the summer?
So yeah, in here, so we can do another little demonstration. So,
I am a play therapist, so I love demonstrations. Should we move these?
We can move those.
Okay.
Okay.
Close those here. Right down there.
Okay. So we're just gonna take it's a piece of watercolor paper, and on the back, I'm gonna have you write maybe an emotion that's been weighing on you, having you like a thought or a feeling.
Emotion that's been weighing on me. I'm like, where do I pick? Can I get a bag for that too? Let's see. Could it be like just very general, like stress?
Stress, yes. Anxiety, or it could be maybe a certain subject you've been like thinking about.
Okay. Yeah, let's just do anxiety. That kind of spoke
Anxiety.
to me.
Okay.
Okay, so just
And
write
so
it.
you can just write it, and you can write it up here in the top because we're going to flip
okay.
our paper over. Okay, and then you're going to, and I'm going to write one too.
We'll do this together.
We'll do it together.
Is this something that our viewers can also join us in on?
They sure can. So just get a piece of paper.
Just any paper?
Any paper.
This is kind of cardstock.
This is cardstock. Yeah.
But computer printer paper is okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
It could do that. All right, and so the next thing we're going to do, we're just going to start to scribble as we focus on this.
Randomly, all
Randomly,
over the place.
all over the place. And
Just whatever feels right, huh?
whatever feels right. And then you're going to stop. Okay. And then look at your paper, and we're going to tip it over.
Oh, we're going to flip it
Okay,
over.
and we're going to write what the opposite of what we're feeling. So
Up
let's
in
say,
the other top corner?
So if you wrote down stress, like, maybe relaxed, or
I put excitement.
excitement.
Yeah,
I love that.
opposite of anxiety.
Okay, and I've been thinking about finances, and so I put abundance on mine.
Wonderful.
So, all right, so now we're going to just take a look at this, and we're just going to take a look at our paper, and we're going to just add other lines.
Okay.
So how do we want
Some
it?
other lines.
Yeah, add some more lines.
Just add some, just like same
Uh-huh.
thing and just kind of let it go.
And just let it go. And I love spirals, so I'm going to add a spiral right here.
So it doesn't need to be one continuous line.
Nope, you
Okay.
can, whatever you want to add to it. All kinds of different things. Yeah, And so now that you're done, any place where you see a corner like that, like a sharp corner, like this right here, we're just going to round it out.
Is there a reason for rounding it out?
According to the research that I've done, it helps change the neurons in your brain. And so we're just going to go around.
I once went to New York,
Uh-huh.
and on the big bus, I think it's called, they were talking about this building is this and this building's that, right?
Uh-huh.
And we passed by a Native American building that had no corners.
Oh my gosh, how cool.
Yeah.
I love
They
that.
said that the Native Americans, and I don't know if this is for all tribes, but Native Americans don't believe in corners, so their homes never have
yeah.
corners.
That's awesome. It's
Yeah.
like, kind of like that, if they're circles, they're like diamonds. Infinity? I don't know. It never ends. The circle never ends.
We have a lot of corners.
That's okay.
This gives you guys time to catch up if you are doing this with us and didn't have the paper ready. And the beauty of video is you can go back and, like, you can pause it, you can come back to this, rewatch it. Andrew's going to show us here soon a drawing prize giveaway that we will be doing. So don't forget to share, because the more you share, and if you follow us on both of, like, on our social medias, whether you're gonna follow us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever, each time that you hit that follow button, you will be your name will be added more into the drawing.
So just to give you an idea, this is kind of what mine's looking like. So, and just rounding those corners. So yeah, I don't remember the name of the man that came up with this. It's been recent. You know, there's been so many studies done on the brain, and you know, I actually I follow Joe Dispenza. Are you familiar with him?
Yes.
I really like what he says about the brain and changing, like, your outcomes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Was that good on my? Oh no, here's another one. Kind of sneak up on you.
they do sneak up. Yeah, I know. You're like, oh, there's another one, and there's another one, and there's another one. And then what you can do is you can color this in and explore. You know, what colors. You know, what does abundance look like? What are colors? You know, and so yeah. So feel free to color that in. And
Love it.
you know, and then you're welcome to make some affirmations. So I just wanted to show you, this was a class that I did earlier. So earlier in the year, we did watercolor and we picked our words for the year.
Oh,
And my word was joy. And then the affirmations that I came up with are: I embrace new beginnings and possibilities. I'm adventurous. I'm courageous and open. I'm excited and optimistic. I'm healthy, wealthy, and wise. And that went along with my word joy. So we did this in one of our classes. And then what we did was I had people pick 3 or 4 different oils. And they made their own blend that went with this. So this is another technique that you can use. So we had a blend with 4 or 5 different oils. It was really fun because everybody's oils smelled different. And
so when you're saying they created their own blend, they took different oils and just put them into another little bottle.
we put them into a roller bottle.
A roller bottle.
A roller bottle. And we mixed them so when they're saying their affirmations, let's see, I don't.
And when they picked their oils, it wasn't as the intuitive thing that I did.
It actually was.
It was, okay.
It was.
So they just randomly picked 4 or 5 of them?
4 or 5 oils. And then I said, put in 3 to 5 drops each, and then we top it off with coconut oil. But they got to take that blend home with their word that you could put up on the wall with your affirmations. And so it had that smell of the aromatherapy of the oil that they created. It anchors, and it helps to anchor in your affirmations.
So do you put drops of the essential oil also on your picture, or not so much?
I have
just more on
yourself, yeah. That anchors you.
Which probably, like during the day, also reminds you
right
of this desire that you have.
Yeah. So super fun. So you can do the same thing with this. And actually,
if you guys are brave enough, I would love for you to post what you create.
I would love
Wouldn't that be fun?
That would be so fun.
To see? And then, should we say that if they post
it, they get extra?
Between now and the 14th, we'll put you another, we'll actually give you 2 for the courage.
For the courage to do it, yes, for sure. I love it. And also, I am doing a class.
Let's wait for this truck to pass.
We're doing construction up here.
Yes. And so are we. We're talking about how to construct our lives, right?
I love that. That's awesome. So yeah, I'm doing a class on July 10th, 6:30 to 8:30. So
where at?
It will be at my house.
Okay.
I'm looking for another place. The place where I was doing classes closed, and unfortunately they sold their building because they're going to build apartments there.
So if you guys know of any place that she could do this, what kind of space do you need for this?
I'm looking for a space that would hold probably like 3 tables and seat about 12.
3 long tables? Okay.
And 12 to 15 people. I like to keep it under 20.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's more personal and
yeah.
So super fun. Anyway, so when you come to the class, we're going to do this again. So you can work on a different emotion, but then you'll be able to create your essential oil roller bottles that come with you, and you can paint your affirmations.
How would they sign up for this class?
If they can just reach me on social media and just tell me.
Maybe we could put it in a
We'll
link.
put a link.
We'll put a link.
We'll put a link.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Oh my goodness. So yeah. So yeah, those were my 5 tips for resetting your summer. There's plenty more, right? But yeah, with the time,
So that's 5 different things. So pick one, at least one of those things to start with. You don't have to start with all 5. That can be overwhelming, and
it sure can. I would
we're
start
already
with one.
talking about being overwhelmed, right?
Yes.
So pick one of those, and maybe it's this, to kind of start resetting yourself to where you want to be, so that you have that awareness of, okay, this is my goal set. And question though.
Yes.
So having a why is so important when we're working towards a goal.
I totally agree with you.
Would writing your why on the back of your picture?
I think that's a great idea.
Okay.
That's a great idea. Why do you want this? Why do you want abundance? Why do you want excitement? And I love that.
Wonderful.
I think it's really important to know what you want and why you want it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
That why it kind of fuels us in our motivation and such.
It sure does. So.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Angie, for joining us at the therapy table. And thank you guys for joining us. And I hope this conversation with Angie gave you the space to reflect, to breathe, and just take one step closer to feeling more balanced this summer. And if you're ready to take that next step in your healing journey, join Angie in her classes. And know that Lighthouse Counseling Services is here for you. So whether you're dealing with anxiety, burnout, trauma, or life transitions, we offer a therapy that is personalized, compassionate, and rooted in evidence-based care. So check the show notes for more on Angie's offering and for a link to schedule with one of our therapists. And if today's episode spoke to you, share it with someone who might need a reset too, or leave a review to help others discover these conversations. Until next time, I'm Laura Da Silva. Take care of yourself, and we'll save a seat for you at the table.